Welcome to Fortune Forecast. I am Daisy, your hostess, and you are in my tarot playlist, where in this video we're going to take a look at the comprehensive collective message for the week of November 1st, Tuesday, November 1st, through Sunday, November 6th. This video will have a lot of goodies for you, and we will start with a lunar phase, going through where the moon is during the different days of the week and how that will influence us, followed by the 7-day forecast, which will be one card draw for each day of the week. Then we will have angels and demons. Yes, our pleasures and temptations. What will be the pleasures and what might be our temptations? Then we will go into the zodiacs, each element, our fire, our water, our earth, and our air signs. And then we will do a numerology draw to see what is the vibration, what is that number influence that we will be feeling during this week. And then we will have the Fortune subscribers community question. That is from you. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and share it here, and I'll do a mini reading with that. So if you're interested in having your question answered here on the channel, please post it down here below and we will bring it in to one of the future sessions. And then we will have a 1-minute meditation where we give ourselves that little mini vacation where we push everything away and come into an awareness of our breath. We will do that together. And then we will conclude it with our affirmation for the week. Are you excited? I am. Let's get started. In this next section, we will look at the lunar influence for the dates of November 1, which is Tuesday, November 1, through Sunday, November 6. So the moon travels through the various constellations and passes through them. It may take 2 to 3 days as it's moving through the heavens. Some people are amazed and awed by the moon and influenced by it. But for the most part, we can't really say, does our nature really change by it? But one thing we can say, that for that period of 29 to 30 days or so, the moon changes its appearance. And it repeats that same pattern the next month, and so on and so on. So it is not unusual that not only today, but in times of past, farmers have used the moon phases for planting crops. Whether we see this as a mystery or just a scientific fact that there is more light for activity, even the spawning of coral occurs a few days after the full moon. And if you become familiar with the different phases of the moon, soon it can be your ally in planning ahead your next 30 days. So let's get started as we see that the moon on Tuesday, November 1st and November 2nd, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, is transitioning into the constellation of Aquarius. Expect the Aquarius moon to influence you in the area of communication and ideas, as Aquarius, as an air sign and a fixed air sign, will push forward things that will urge reform and change. And with that same energy of the moon, it will open up that communication. You may feel more inclined to do charitable work or inclined to random acts of kindness. It is that humanitarian nature of Aquarian that is arousing this energy in you and opening up a little bit more patience and focus. And it's okay. You might feel that you're not in such a hurry because you're okay in waiting for things to change for the better. And there's a part of you that is realizing it might take a little longer, so you might not be rushing through any projects. Come both on Tuesday and Wednesday. Go with the flow and get new ideas and secure a better outcome for whatever is presenting itself on these days. Let's keep in mind that on Wednesday, right about that 1800 hour, which is about that 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we begin to now change the pace as the moon does transition on November 2nd, Wednesday, into Pisces. The moon will hover in constellation of Pisces both on Thursday and Friday. This fish-loving constellation is ruled by Neptune and inspires us to kind of expand our dreams, feel our inner drive, connect with our intuition. We may have a sense that our emotions are heightened as this is a water sign. Pisces, being a mutable sign, is all about adaptability. It is all about welcoming new perspectives and exploration, and maybe even availing our emotions to have empathy for others. Some may feel overwhelmed with some of the feelings that are going to be expressed either by themselves or by others. But yet at the same time, these couple days may be also one where you may be dancing with magic. A lot of new decisions are going to be made, not with our minds, but with our hearts. Our emotions are going to be at play, and people might be a little bit more sensitive than others and maybe even more easily swayed. So if this is in relationship to relationships, this is definitely coming out into an area of binding and bonding. So keep in mind, as you're here with this constellation, it's important to remember that whatever is going to show up in regards to your feelings, let them wash over you, knowing that this influence will pass very shortly. And if you're not able to swim against this emotional current, well, guess what? It is time to learn how to tread water, because if you don't, you'll sink. Heading into the weekend with Saturday and Sunday, constellation shifts, and bam, we are in fiery Aries. That's where we're at, with the moon now as a waxing gibbous. So this now may not be about that, what we call humanitarian nature of Aquarius. We have shifted into the weekend, and it is about me, myself, and I, the things that you need to do for your own and maybe on your own. So it might be interesting if you feel that now you have a lot of energy to draw from, and this energy, you wanted to take charge of your own life and to do your things in your way. So this is where that energy is moving on the weekend. The moon now is setting itself up to be in its splendorous full moon stage, but not quite there yet, setting itself up at the same time. The energy that we're feeling is that of redirection, of adjustments. And now we want to think about the projects that we'd like to finish. And that's where we're at. We're here now, looking back at this week and all the things that we were able to achieve and having that retrospection. And some of us may be feeling that this is the opportunity to refine some things in our lives, to cultivate new things, and to kind of stage the future to develop greater parts of ourselves and a better quality of what it is that we want. It's urging us, as we see that full moon almost not there yet, that we want to go with the flow. At the same time, we want to accomplish things, and we want to kind of stay true to our nature. So keep in mind that the effort you put in will be equal to the output you will receive. Okay, my dear one, let's move on to the next section in our comprehensive collective message. All right. In this section, we are going to do the 7-day forecast for Tuesday, November 1 through Sunday, November 6. Yeah, this is a shorty, only because I wanted to wrap up the month all the way in one video since there was one day left. All right, so you're wondering, what's this little feather doing here? Well, I was walking from the garden, and there it was just laying so gently on the grass. And over our house, almost every day, we have flocks of ibis birds come through. And I wanted to share this beautiful message that is coming through. And the ibis is symbolic of balance, purity, mystery, and unity. They're always in community and flying together, kind of reminding us for us to adapt, because they adapt to the different situations that are presented to them. There's this website, and it's called whatismyspiritanimal.com. I would recommend for you, if you are into totem animals and what their spiritual meanings are. They did a really nice job on that website with all the information. The ibis is there to help you with any work that you may have ahead of you. So it might be in the area of communication, discernment, maybe trusting what's ahead. So it'll be interesting to see what will be revealed in this message today. All right, let's get started. So we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, I'm going to move these up just a tad because we have a lot of players joining our stage, and we've got to make sure we have room for each one of the main events that are going to be showing up real soon. So we've got to make sure we've got all that room. All right, so here we go for November 1, which falls on Tuesday. All right, what do we have here? So here we have the Seven of Wands. We see a lot of movement here. We see a sense of holding your ground while you're moving forward. And we do have the moon floating through Aquarius. So it is definitely about grabbing your dreams and reaching for your goals at the same time, you know, in expressing who you are and standing firm in what you believe in. Despite the fact that the moon is moving through the sign of Aquarius, where it's all about that air element that we have, we are also dealing with the fire within, as represented by the wands here. The fire to stand for what we believe in, the fire to pursue what we want. We believe in our goals so strongly that we are okay to stand up against any opposition that may want to challenge this success, that may want to challenge our future, that may want to challenge who we have become. So one thing to do as you're moving through Tuesday is to stay focused and dedicated to what you are trying to achieve. Stay clear in your purpose. Stay clear in your efforts. And when it comes to love, this is about setting those boundaries in your relationship. When it comes to career, this is about defending, you know, all the things that you have, you know, done so far. You know, you've worked really hard to be where you're at. You've worked really hard to gain the trust of others. And now to have anyone challenge you, you know, that's the time now where you bring all your guns, you show your expertise and defend your position. So even when it comes to your money, you know, you're here and you might be finding yourself that you might have to stand up to protect your earnings, to protect your finances. There might be a situation where you have to stand up for whatever that means if you're looking for that long-term success. So at the end of the day, Tuesday, hold your ground, believe in yourself. All right, let's move on to Wednesday. Okay, so we jump into holding that ground. Interesting how you see that you're fighting for something. Now you're holding. On Wednesday, we're now holding that position, right? It looks like we were able to secure something. It looks like we were able to reach our goals. So, and when we focus just on that for a minute there, it is a sense. And it is like, you can take a seat and for a minute, just rejoice in the fact that it feels good. It feels good to feel secure. It feels good to have that recognition. It feels good to not have to fight anymore and, prove. Because look, it looks like the same person has moved on now and now has been given a crown and being recognized. So if this was a career related thing, it could be that you were able to get that promotion, or you were able to get a raise, or if you were looking for the job because you were fighting and struggling for it, and that you got the interview and they got the call back and now they're hiring you. This is great news. So now on another note, when we go back now thinking about relationship, could this mean that you are in a relationship where someone's really clingy, insecure, and they're just, trying to hold on to whatever they can to keep this relationship bounded by the material things that are being possessed by, your partner, by the partnership. Overall, though, in general, while there is a little sense of darkness, you could see where you feel that this is right there in that center chakra, it's like, are you putting material things over, emotional things? That's almost because you see the darkness around it, you see the red, and what are your priorities? So there's like this little dark overtone to this, and keep in mind as you're moving through Wednesday, if this is a relationship, how healthy is this relationship? And if this is a career related or money related, you know what? Breathe easy. You deserve a break today. All right, so here we have the Five of Swords. We see some clouds overhead, some people walking away. They don't look really too happy. And this person here standing, funny thing that we see the person that was wearing the same color green. Here we are. And holding 3 swords, 2 over the shoulder and 1 looks like he just finished, battle. But when we think about it, the moon now has moved into Pisces. So what does it mean when we have a Pisces moon? Definitely it's one about asking you to follow your dreams. We're talking about those emotions. So when we look at this, could it be that somebody might have had their feelings hurt on Tuesday? And so now here we are, looking at, trying to pick up the pieces here. But at the same time, when we're looking at swords, we're also dealing with air. We're talking about the mind, knowledge, and intellect. And so this could have been, while at first may have been very passionate for you, there might have been a lot of mental foreplay, a lot of things that were said that they may have hurt others. So with this moon in Pisces, which is a water sign, and we see this water scene in the background, maybe this is being asked to approach this situation that may be before you with some compassion. Because when we look also at the number 5 represents that change, maybe some life lessons, maybe an opportunity here, maybe some decisions that you've had to make, and also represents healing. So you may want to consider what has been said, because when we look at these areas here, in case of a relationship, this may mean that there might be some tension, maybe some conflict, maybe some arguments. You may want to kind of put your antennas up. Somebody here wants to be right. At what cost being right is worth anything? The question is, what is there to gain in being right in this particular situation? And if we take this into the career or business or partnership, also this could possibly mean, that maybe someone is being aggressive here, and maybe it has to do with something that happened here where someone had to take that defensive position and kind of hold information back, or that they're coveting some type of information or knowledge or paperwork or something physical that is going to be needed. Yet then it creates this the sense of somebody's got knowledge, somebody's got a piece of information, and they're not sharing. Remember, we talked about the swords having to do with the intellect. So this could have to be with some information, if this is a work-related scenario, that somebody may be holding something back and not sharing it, and that's giving them the edge. So be very careful with that. And in the area of money and finances, be extra cautious when dealing with people. It could be that there could be something that went wrong in regards to a business deal, in relationship to money, or some conflict. So interesting however you throw that, especially looking at how Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday proceeded. And remember, we're in that Pisces sign, so we're that it's stirring with the moon, it's magnifying those emotions. Let's look at Friday. Okay, so we have the Death card. Let me just put it right side up so you can kind of get the feeling of this. And I also have in my Learn Tarot playlist a detailed description on how to interpret this. If you're interested, you can go and jump on that video. So we see this person on a white horse. We see the white flower of purity, the rose. He's protected here. And we see either a pope here trying to give a blessing, and yet we see people just laid out, and some people on their knees kind of asking for mercy, and then the journey, the voyage ahead, what must take place. So it's like a sense of change. So when we think about this and we think about what's happened already, is there something that we're resisting? Are we resisting some type of change? Could these things have been played out a little bit different? This during the week been dealt with in a different manner? Because we see that there is some type of sense on Wednesday that we're holding on to something we don't want to let go of. We don't know if we're resisting change in the relationship, or maybe we're resisting to change on how we deal with the relationship. Or it could be that at work, maybe there's a lack of collaboration, a lack of teamwork. So what needs to change? And maybe in the area of money, maybe there's some unhealthy financial patterns or habits that you have, and you are not willing to seek the help that you need. Seek a financial advisor, a planner that will kind of help you get yourself on track. So definitely lots of intensity that we see here during the week that have to do with yourself and where you want to go with things. And I'm not surprised. I mean, overall, we are in Scorpio season. Scorpio is about that dynamic. And when we think about the two planets that are ruled by Scorpio, which is Mars and Pluto, we are thinking about all the things that we are placed in a position to address our shadow self. You know, Mars is that planet of war. It's such a raw planet, bringing us face to face with our darkest and deepest emotions. And so when you couple that with Pluto, which is all about that judgment, but it also is associated with death, which is transformation and rebirth, it is, what is that struggle? So only you can ask yourself, what is at least one thing that I can do without so that I can become a better person? Let's move on to Saturday. So let me turn it right side up. And when we see it in this position, it does look devastating. It looks depressing. It looks sad. It looks like there's a loss. Fortunately for us, the 5 of Cups is upside down. And what does that mean? Well, here, now it looks like you've had a chance. Whatever happened on Friday, today, now that you're like either further away from the incident and you've had time to think things over, it looks like you can recover from this sadness, from this regret, and begin to accept that, you know what, it's you know, no need for crying over spilled milk. Now it's about what can we take and what can we clean up, but we can't go back there. And it's about recognizing that, you know what, even though this experience was painful, there is a bigger lesson here. There's something to move forward to, and you have not lost sight. You have not lost sight that there's still ways to go to cross over this emotional river. And fortunately, the moon, if you can go back to the earlier part of the video, the moon is in Aries. And so by being in Aries, it has given us some impetus to kind of get back up on our feet and actually react to this situation and become more curious about how can we improve this. And it is this Aries energy, the fire of Aries, that's kind of heating this up again and giving you some purpose, some understanding, and being able to walk away. If this had to do with a relationship, you know what? You're okay walking away from this. Or if there was some issue in the relationship, you're okay with, it's time to move on from that situation. It is time for us to heal. And if this had to do with a situation at work, well, guess what? It's also the same thing. You know what? Whatever happened, it's part of the past. It's time to just, next week is going to be a new week, and I've learned from this. I'm going to just, take notes and, just become a better person. And if this had to do with money, well, this is about, okay, something happened. There may have been some mistakes. There might have been some financial losses, maybe some poor investments, but you know what? It's about, let's get started with what we have. Let's build here. Let's start creating that nest egg that we need and have a plan. Let's look at Sunday. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this card this way for a minute. It is the Three of Pentacles. We have three people here in what I call a place of worship, and here two people are looking for advice. One person is giving the advice. You could see he's like the expert, and he is a little bit higher than them and can see things from a different perspective. So what does that mean when it's upside down? First, let's think about the number 3. The number 3 is about manifestation. It's about expansion. It's about communication. It's about socializing, and also about getting angelic help. It's also about divine guidance and help. So now what happened here? As we see this card upside down, then we have a different sense here. The energy here now looks like now there isn't any communication. Something is off. Everyone here kind of wants to have their own opinion, and they feel like they're holding a part of the puzzle, but no one wants to share it. No one wants to collaborate. No one wants to bring the things together. So when you're in this type of team or relationship or partnership, it's really difficult to get anything done. It's really difficult to create that morale or that team or that camaraderie, for a better choice of words. So what we have here, when people are not together, not sharing resources, not collaborating, then what you have is a lot of infighting, a lot of disagreements. And it's very, very stressful because nothing is getting done. You can't complete things. You can't manifest things. So Sunday's going to bring you into that place where it's about really finding that sacred space. Going to bring this sense of what was all this conflict about, because you can't make anything happen. It's almost like the week was for nothing. Nothing was able to be gained. We see that we started with standing your ground. Then there was some gains, but then you were fighting to keep it. Then there was something happened, some exchange of words or mental foreplay that was not beneficial, because instead of people coming together, everybody decided to, go their own ways. And then we see that the events that are taking place, it's because there's a big life lesson that you're not willing to face yet. And coming to terms with that gives you a sense then on Saturday, okay, well, maybe I should look into this. But now as you're looking at this, you're looking that nothing was gained. nothing was gained. The way and the strategy that you have used has not helped. And so when we look at that, how has that helped in the approach of the relationship? You're not able to kind of, bond in the relationship. In the career, it's almost so frustrating because there's too much office politics, or, with your partnership in your business, it's almost like you're competing instead of completing things. So, and then when it comes to money, well, you're not taking the responsibility to manage the money. It's like there's no safe place. There's no reserve. There is no savings. In the end, when we look at this card, it could be as simple that Sunday is about going back to your faith, going back to your core values so that you can become that power manifester. But as it stands, that is where you need to go and connect with your faith and truly believe that the best outcome is there, and begin acting as it is so. All right, let's take a look at now our next one, which is angels and demons. Let's see what is in store for our pleasures and temptations. All right, angels and demons. Temptations. Okay. Well. The Five of Wands. And it's in the fire sign. We see all this fire here, and we see the battle here taking place with the sticks. But it is in the reverse. So, in the reverse, what do we see here? So when the Five of Wands is in reversed, obviously there is no conflict. So the pleasures possibly could be that the way to approach this is just take the higher road, to avoid the conflict, to try and keep the peace in the relationship, to look for a resolution. Sometimes this could be a good thing. Sometimes there's a time and a place for everything. And maybe this week is not the week to take on this challenge with the attitude that may have been showing up already on Thursday. So the pleasure will come in making the choice to take that high road, to look for resolutions, to think about other people, and to put yourselves in their shoes so that it could be a win-win for all involved. So in the relationship, it is about keeping the peace and about seeking a resolution. And that resolution may be about, remember, we are in Scorpio season still. So it is about confronting those shadows and also being compassionate about your partner in allowing them to also express their feelings, and then try to find a way to smooth things out so that there is respect for each other. And then if this is a career situation, and it could be about avoiding the conflict at the workplace or avoiding the competition, and instead of competing, how about working, so that you can complete the task, so you can help the company rise or help the business rise or the organization. And when it comes to money, instead of fighting over the money matters, it's about, okay, how do we keep harmony here? Let's look at what the expenses are. Let's look at this crisis that showed up, and let's figure out how we can budget through this. It's interesting what the temptations will be. Our little feather here. Temptations, worry. 5. Well. Look at 5. We had the 5 of Swords. We had the 5 of Cups. And with angels and demons, the 5 of Wands and the 5 of Pentacles. We had all 5s. Wow. Well, we see here in this particular tarot deck from the Sun and Moon Tarot by Vanessa Decor. So the imagery here is a little bit different. So we're watching this couple here, and they don't look too happy. A person's here like in the fetus position, and this person here is also kind of just hanging out there. And there's not much energy going on here. So this is one of the earth signs. And this whole sense of worrying, it's almost like fear, worry, anger. These are very base emotions, and they are like anchors that keep us just on the ground. So what is the temptation? Is the temptation to worry about this and to stay so focused on the problem that we can't see the solution? Will we be tempted into self-pity? That is the question, because the 5 of Pentacles is about hardships and insecurity. And the more that we see that, the more that we live in that, the temptation may be that you might want to blame others, blame the government, blame your job, blame your past, blame your circumstances, maybe worrying about being broke, or maybe worried about losing your job. And, you know, change for you is just too afraid to change because all you can see is all that you see in front of you. And for you, the temptation is to get bogged down in the worrying that maybe you'll lose someone or something. So when it comes to love, you're obsessed and worried about losing that partnership. When it comes to money, when it comes to work, you're just sitting there worrying. The worrying doesn't help anyone. Worry makes you feel like you're busy doing something, but it's not helping your relationship because you're not improving it. It's not helping you get out of debt, and it's not helping you secure your job or establishing camaraderie at work. Worrying didn't help anyone out of nothing. So pleasures, are we going to be peacemakers and look for resolutions? Or are we going to be tempted to take the role of the victim and worry about the problem and make it even worse? Interesting. All right, let's move on to the next section, which is our elements of the zodiac. Okay. Fire. Water. Earth. And air. Fire. All right, so our fires are upside down, and our fires are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So who do we have here? Okay, we have the number 4, and this is a major arcana. This is the Emperor. By looking at the card, we see someone that's got wisdom. We see that he's got the ability to rule. He's got his golden crown on him. Has a lot of earthy and grounded sense, like he's come through a lot of experiences. And there's balance in his emotions because we got the water heading to these big, tall mountains, both of them on both sides. And there's something soft about the tone of the colors here, but his seat is firm. Unfortunately, my Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, this card is upside down. So what does it mean as we're moving towards and looking at Tuesday, Wednesday through Sunday? And as you can see, Tuesday is that fire energy here, you know, moving forward. But at the same time, here it looks like my fire sign, something's off, because maybe you have abused your authority. Maybe you've reached your influence. I don't know whether it's at work or in the relationship, maybe, you know, becoming a little bit too possessive in the relationship. And yet, at the same time, when it comes to work, maybe that could be that you're not assuming the role because you want to be everybody's friend. So what has happened? Could this be that we're under that Scorpion influence, and it's really asking us to reach in to our deeper selves and to meet up with our shadow self and confront our fears, confront our deepest troubling emotions. And maybe this is that week and we're having trouble assuming that role, assuming and taking the courage that we have to do what we must do. So this is going to be a very rough week for the fire signs. And if you're working with people, this is really saying that maybe you are forgetting your role. And sometimes we have to do the tough things for the best of the team, for the best of the company. And maybe you're afraid that if you did what you have to do, that you would lose control and create suffering for others. But sometimes we're asked to do great things. And with that power also comes huge responsibility that it seems maybe you don't want to face at this time. Maybe you don't want to face it in the relationship. And so there's this power struggle. And maybe you're dealing with a partner that's overbearing and possessive. Or maybe when it comes to work, you really don't want to lose some relationships that you've established because you have to assume responsibility. But when it comes to business, there has to be a balance between friends and getting the job done. And it's unfortunate, but that is the true thing. I myself experienced it. At the end of the day, when you are a manager or when you are a boss, there is no friends. Friends are only there to as long as that paycheck is coming. But when there's responsibilities and orders due and services to be provided, and it's your company, you have to stand up. And there is no friends in that game. It's very tough. It's going to be interesting how and what you're going to choose. Let's take a look at the water signs. My water signs are going to be doing just fine. Okay, my water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And like I mentioned, even though remember, this is Scorpio season. So Scorpios are just fine. They're in there. They're okay with the challenge. They're okay with the aggression. They're okay with the transformation. That's what they came to do. So for the water signs, this event that has happened during the week, and this event that is playing itself out during the week, is one that you should feel comfortable with, because it was one that was coming and one that you were able to work through it because of the energy that's flowing. So for my Cancer and my Scorpio and my Pisces, this week, even though it will have this element through it, you're going to come out just fine. On the brighter side, this could also be that there might be some reason to celebrate. Could be a wedding, an engagement, some family gathering of sorts that is bringing people together. So that's really a good thing. And when it comes to work, you're going to have this moment of being able to look back at the week and just say, you know what? It really is about bringing these ideas together and bringing it so that we can get the best product out of this, get the best result out of this. And it's about collaborating. So for you, this is about working together for, stability in the home, which was something that was a concern. But now you see that after being able to go through this, and you're so comfortable in that environment, this situation, while not pleasant, it is one that, because of your ability to really dig deep into your feelings, whether to express them or to work with your feelings, you're able to work through it for the better outcome of creating stability, for creating security. And above all, what this will allow is for you to come back and come into focus. So definitely the water signs so far are ruling the board. Let's take a look now at our earth signs. Well, my earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. So here we have the Page of Wands. Wands is in the fire house. We are in Scorpio season. See a lot of earth around him. This is a fire sign, but we do see some earth. So what is it that our earth sign just right now cannot get started? Because usually the Page of Wands are really exciting, bringing some exciting news, bearer of something wonderful, some great opportunities, some great things about to get started. And he's very dressed in such a beautiful, beautiful attire. And he's got his sword and gems. So definitely a character of royalty and elegance and intelligence. But something's off. It's almost like this plan, this project, you know, that you're trying to pursue, that trying to push forward is kind of very frustrating, to say the least, for you, my earth signs, my Capricorns, my Taurus, and my Virgos. One of the things that this may mean, because this is about a project or an idea or something, maybe you might be pushing up against things that right now are not ready to manifest. Maybe you are wasting your time with this project. Maybe this is not the right way or the right timing to pursue this. And when it comes to relationship, it could mean a few things. Maybe you're trying to pursue something that does not want to be pursued. Or it could be that the person that you're with, you just can't rely on them to get through with some of the things that you want in life. Maybe they're not ready to make that commitment the way that you want. And so this is creating a little bit of stress for you in the area of the relationship. And when it comes to career, possibly it could mean that you are losing so much interest, and maybe you're not putting enough energy into, you know, landing a job somewhere. And if this has to do with career, perhaps it could be that you're no longer interested in pursuing. You've lost your drive. And it could be that maybe there is no upward mobility. Maybe there's nothing that's changing that allows you to go into upper for promotion. And you've just kind of lost your drive. Maybe this Scorpio season is making you wake up to areas of your life that you might not be happy. And maybe when it comes to money, maybe you're feeling a little bit unstable. Maybe you're overspending, and that's creating more problems. I don't know. It's pretty tough. So we got our fire signs and our earth signs. Let's see how it's going to fare out for our air signs. Ooh, my goodness. Our air signs are Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Let's take a look at what we have here. All right, so we have our knight, well protected, fire in his purpose, bringing money, opportunity, has the means to do it. Unfortunately, upside down. So what is in store for our Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini as we move through the week? What is going on? Maybe you're stuck in a routine and you're just not excited about going anywhere with anything. Maybe you are against this change that is really being ushered for you in your life. Take a look at that. Total opposite from the black horse to the white horse. And maybe you're fighting this change, this chapter in your life. And so remember, we are in Scorpio season. And as an air sign, it's going to be challenging because asking you to connect with your emotions and to really dig deep. But it's really more focusing on the challenges of the material world, about relationships, about financial matters, about those personal issues. And maybe you have neglected them. And now all these issues are coming up in your life now so that you can, face the music. And so here we are. dealing with a lot of things that are going to show up. Could be about relationship or career in any of these areas. Maybe what you're trying to hold on to, maybe what you're neglecting, maybe what you're not managing. And maybe you've neglected this relationship because possibly you've been so focused on your work because it's been all about the material gains. And it could also be when financially, maybe it could be that you've overspending and maybe you're doing impulsive buying so that you don't have what you need to go forward. So the air signs are going to have a lot on their dish about change, big time. I believe that the air signs will be the ones most affected by this coming week of Tuesday the 1st through Sunday the 6th. Well, but you know what? We can get through it. We just need to remember, which are we going to choose? Are we going to look for resolutions, or are we going to anchor in our worries and stay put? You get to choose, angels or demons, pleasures or temptations. All right, let's move on to the numerology influence. Ah, 4 and 4. Okay, so that gives us the number 8 in general. But it's really cool that we have it like this, like balancing the week, the beginning of the week and the end of the week with the number 4. But we have the number 8 here. The number 8 is about our personal power. It's about getting our personal power back. It's about dealing with finances. It's about that personal authority. Remember, fire signs? That situation you have here? This is about assuming your personal authority, not giving it up, with the Emperor here upside down. So you might want to look into that. And as we look at this, it's about integrity and truth. Also, when we look at the number 8, if you picture the number 8, and as it's like that circular shape, and you put it on its side, you have this sense of flowing, the sense of what I would call eternal karma. And so when we see this death card here asking for that transformation, I could see how the number 8, the vibration of number 8, is showing up in our lives to go ahead and, step up to the lessons that life is showing us and to be challenged to push forward. In tarot, the number 8 is associated with the strength card. So we need to find the strength to pull through as we move through the different challenges that we're going to have this week. I could tell you that our water signs are going to be acing this week coming up. And isn't that interesting that we have the Scorpio season? And of course, we've got Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer, which are there as water signs. So they'll have the strength and determination to move forward. Okay, the number 8 is also kind of bringing a message, to avoid the desire to possess or for greed, which we could see that over here at the same time. And also, to avoid being condescending, to avoid looking down at others, as we could see on the number 5 of swords, that did show up in the way that this domino gave us the number 8 instead of 5 and 3 or 6 and 2. It gave us 4 and 4. It is also reminding us that it is important for us to balance ourselves, to bring both sides of the story. There's not just one side of the story. To be willing to deal with these emotional issues that we have so that we can be open to the transformation that is ahead of us. And as I said, number 8 also refers to having the strength, that courage that you need, but most for bringing a desire for peace and love, as we are all looking for transformation, and so that we can all get through this, not just one person here winning, but all. When we think of all, we begin to express a higher sense of love as we would say that the number 8 is one that brings up that abundance and prosperity, manifestation, and wealth. So when we break this down as we're dealing with, our week, and we look at the 4 and the 4. So this is a sense of balance here. And 4 is about focus and foundations and organization. So when we see this here, we see the need for that focus, for patience, to apply some sense of practicality in what we are approaching. The number 4 also relates to discipline. And what is the discipline that you need to reach your goals? What is the discipline that you need for a better relationship, for better understanding at work, for better management of your finances? What is that? And when we see that, we see the importance of communication. We see the importance of focus. We see the importance of practical thinking. And in angelology, the number 4 refers to the archangels. So here you can ask for divine intervention from the angels, Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Gabriel, to help you with all these energies and get divine intervention through that. So here we have a lot of balance, a lot of truth, honesty, abundance, wealth, and we've got to bring that. But to do that, we've got lessons to learn here for the transformation to take place. And that's what Scorpio season is about. Okay, let's move on to our next section, which is the subscribers community question. And if you are interested in having a mini reading done here on the channel, please do submit your question on this post, and we will go ahead and grab it for one of the upcoming sessions. So let me go ahead and move these players over so we can set up the stage for our mini reading. All right. So the question by one of you subscribers is the following. Should I get a new roof now? That's a lot of cards. Okay. Should I get a new roof now? I am concerned about cost. If insurance will pose a problem. Okay. Should I get a new roof now? Situation. I'm going to do an extra cost. Another one about the cost. And then the outcome. Okay. So how are we going to do this? And this may be for anyone else who may be kind of wondering if they should get a roof or do some home improvements. This might fall in that category. So let's see how this is going to go. This is the bottom card. Okay. The Knight of Wands. And this is from the Everyday Tarot. Okay. And so we have the Knight of Wands here. The Stallion. Well, it looks like he's fired up to go. The situation we've got going on here is that it is in reversed. And so usually when this card is in reverse, this poor Stallion, who's really all, as you can see the fire on his hair, he's really frustrated. So there's a lot of frustration going on with this decision. And it looks like you're trying to deal with something that right now you are finding kind of struggling, because maybe there's other circumstances that are happening that you can't get a grip on how to move forward with that big home improvement. So it looks like you've got other projects you really want to do and you're just trying to decide which one. And it's very frustrated for you right now. But let's see what this matter is here. Oh, well, I could just tell you, you got the Knight of Wands, and then you got the Ten of Swords. And it's almost as if, like, this is bad timing right now. And because it looks like the information that is is giving to you. There's a lot of fluctuating matters that is kind of a burden for you right now. So there's a lot of at play here, and it feels like you don't have the support that you need to make these big decisions right now, whether and I don't see them as financial. It's just like the resources, the right companies maybe, or maybe not enough research, because it's like you don't have enough. And even like there's so much other factors outside of you that are affecting making this decision. It's not so much about the money, but it's really about the timing, and also the people and the information. So, and that's what's making it frustrated. It's like there isn't enough support, whether to move forward to do this. The Knight of Wands being upside down, and then the Ten of Swords, you know, showing up, kind of stabbing you in the back. And so it's like if you move forward now, it's like it's going to catch you by surprise in another area. So I want to talk about the insurance here, because that was a question that you did have. Talked about your concern with the cost and how will this affect with the insurance and if it's going to be a problem. Well, the Chariot, you talk about a message that's telling you this is not the time, because the question came out as, should I get a new roof now? And let me just put this card right side up. This part of the mini reading has to do with the element of concerns about the cost and insurance. And so with the Chariot, normally when you see the Chariot, you see this handsome person with this beautiful canopy full of stars, and then the Sphinxes guiding him forward. And he doesn't need, or she does not need much to command these Sphinxes to move. And unfortunately, when we have the Chariot upside down, that power, we've lost it. Even the guidance of the stars, we don't even have them to guide us through the dark part of the journey. So here we have the situation where you're worried about the two aspects, which is the cost and the insurance. So looking at how you've received many of the messages as like really on the negative end, on the no end, there are some aspects possibly that has to do with the cost. It could have to do with commodities and the pricing, as many things are happening currently with the economy and prices are going up and down. And also it could affect with the insurance, depending on, I could just tell you, Florida, we don't get out of hurricane season till November 30th. So usually insurance companies are a little bit tough handing out insurance policies or working with that when you might be in the window of the hurricane season. So I'm not sure about that. And so far it looks like the Knight of Wands showing the level of frustration. I empathize with you on that. And then with the what's the situation, and you feel like, you know, they're stabbing you in the back, meaning you don't know where to go because you don't feel like you have the support and you don't have the information. So it's like that's what's creating a lot of frustration. Just not enough data for you to really feel that you can stand alone making this big purchase of home improvement. And so then let's take a look at the outcome. The Ace of Cups. You know, it's about your emotions. I like that. So the Ace of Cups is, for me, the way that I'm seeing this is when you can come to grasp and get some of these other things under control, you can feel it in your gut that you can make that decision and make that investment. That's when you should move. So the factors that you have are, did you vet? Did you price your roof? Did you get estimates? Did you vet the companies? And when it comes to the insurance, one thing I've learned in Florida, hurricane season is not over till November 30th. And so it'll be usually a little bit challenging with insurances during any project during that window of hurricane season. And when it comes with your insurance company, you may want to start, asking questions. And at the same time, venture out to other companies. You might find out that it's time to switch because you might get better better benefits with another company. So the answer that I see here is that there's too much going on right now, not only for you, but the economy, and probably the level of frustration is because you haven't done all the homework. And that's why it's becoming a little bit tough, because the money won't be so much of an issue. It's all these other little factors, because you can plan out your money. And I have a sense, since I didn't see any pentacles show up here, that that's really not the problem. It's all these other little issues. So hopefully this helps and gives you a little bit of idea of how to move forward and when to do this home improvement project. All right, let's move on now to our meditation. So in this section, we will do a 1-minute meditation where I invite you to give yourself this time for self-love, for slowing down, for being aware of your space and your own essence. I will ring the bell twice, once in the beginning of the minute, and you can close your eyes and just feel your breath coming in and coming out. Be aware of your surroundings, the noises, the sounds, the scents. Be familiar with how you feel in your space, and notice any areas in your body that might feel tense, and send air and love and relaxation and soothing calmness to your body, and remind this body that you are grateful that it is helping you do the things you need to do and has helped you get to this point in life. And in your breath, inhale, filling yourself with a sense of calmness, a sense of peace, a sense of love and warm light. And when you exhale, release any tensions and any worries and let them just flow out. And then at the end of the minute, I will ring the bell. You can open your eyes and feel wonderful and refreshed. So let's do this. All right, come back, come back, come back, and here you are. Yes, hopefully you feel wonderful. No matter what happens today, you've given yourself 1 minute of self-love. Wonderful. Let's move on now to our affirmation. And I invite you to write this down on a 3x5 card. Keep it in your pocket handy or put it on your phone for the week. And look at it whenever you feel a little frustrated. Just open it up and say these empowering words to yourself. So I will say it the first time, and I will say it a second time, and you can say it out loud with me. My perseverance is stronger than any challenge I face. My perseverance is stronger than any challenge I face. All right. Well, there you have it. Maybe some of this resonates with you and maybe it doesn't. But for those that it does, I hope that this will give you the tools you need to empower you to make this a great week ahead. So thank you and be blessed and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave me your comment, and hit the bell. That way you will get notified when I put up my next video. And we'll see each other on the next video.